All right, so let's talk about these Miami Dolphins real quick. Um, Obviously, the season didn't go or finish the way we wanted it to finish. Um, we've got some hard questions that we've got to have answered. I think we have an answer to one already, and that is we need to move away from Tua. It was probably midway through the season when I started to get this feeling that, yeah, that's maybe what we need to do. And then after watching him play the last couple weeks, and especially against KC on Saturday night, it's time. We can't make excuses anymore. He doesn't have the arm strength. Okay, number one. Number two, he can't improvise. All right, if it isn't drawn up in pretty pictures and everything for him, he can't do it. No knock against him, but he's just not the guy for the Miami Dolphins. And while they have invested a lot of money in him, he also knows they've invested a lot of money and time and personnel into him. And there's no threat behind him right now, which brings me to my next point. They probably need to leverage some of their assets so that they can light a fire under Tua, so that they can get this team in the right direction. What I mean by leveraging assets is it's time to say goodbye to two of those assets, being Xavier Howard and Jalen Waddle. Yeah, it pains me to say Jalen Waddle, but at the end of the day, Jalen Waddle, if he sneezes wrong, he gets hurt. In the beginning of the season, it looked great. Jalen was being featured alongside of Tyreek, and both of them were just racking up numbers. And then all of a sudden along the way, you just saw more featuring of Tyreek versus Jalen, and he was just more used as a decoy. Well, you can get anybody to be used as a decoy that has some type of speed. So it's time to make some decisions. Run game is great. It looks good. You have two backs, really, you have running backs by committee, but you know for sure Devon Achane is going to be really, really good in this league and really great for the Miami Dolphins. But it's time to say goodbye to that asset in Jalen Waddle to leverage it. And obviously Xavier Howard goes without saying. Xavier's always hurt. He has not been the same dude since his record-setting season a few years ago. So it's time to move on from that. And you may need to couple that package deal with a first-round pick so that you can move up in the draft to try to get somebody like a Michael Penix Jr. or somebody of better caliber. Obviously, Caleb Williams is going to be out of the range or reach of the Miami Dolphins unless Chicago, that top team, decides, I think I want Xavier Howard and Jalen Waddle. It may be something worth exploring for them, and they may move back in the draft because they'll continue to go with Justin Fields, which I personally don't think is a bad thing for them. I like Justin Fields. So I think I saw a little bit earlier on Bleacher Report that Chris Grier is looking to get the contract extension done with Tua, and they want to secure him for the future. And I think speak for every Miami Dolphins fan right now when I say why. We've seen what Tua can do. We've seen this for a few years now, and it's the same consistent story, and it's lack of arm strength and decision making. Yeah, there's flashes of brilliance at times, but it's not consistent. And that's what we need in order to move to that next round. Other thing I like to see Miami do is move away from Vic Fangio's defense. Now, I know I heard Tony Romo earlier in the season when he was broadcasting one of our games rave about Vic's defense. I'm sorry, but I haven't seen it. And against top teams like, I don't know, Baltimore, you ain't getting it done, homie. And on top of that, I'll give you three reasons right now. Okay. The first reason, Tennessee Titans. Every Miami Dolphins fan, when I say the Tennessee Titans, cringes because we were up by 2 touchdowns with under 5 minutes to go and we lose the game. I didn't see that coming. I was about to shut it off and go to sleep because I had to go to work. But something told me to stay, and something also said we was about to lose the game. And I was right. We lost the game. And that, sir, is indicative of bad defense. Number 2, last week when they played Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills game that we played down in Miami, what were we doing at the end of the half? At the end of the half, we're playing a prevent defense, and the Buffalo Bills are inside the Miami Dolphins 30-yard line. They gave them 15, 20 yards by an out route because they're so far back trying to play defense. You gave them an out route, so you're conceding to the 3 points, okay? Which They opted not to go for the 3 points. They opted to try to go for the touchdown. And if it wasn't for the last line of defense stopping him at the goal line, he almost didn't stop him, and we almost gave them a score. That is bad coaching, bad defense. And then finally, the last straw, and this is all around for the Miami Dolphins coaching staff, is the reason you didn't have any edge rushers because you decided to play Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb when it was garbage time. It was garbage time. We were winning the game. We knew we were going to win the game. There was nothing that was going to stop us from winning. And you still got them on the field running around. And that's why we had no edge rushers. And that cost us the playoffs. The only people that Miami can blame is themselves for having to come to KC and play negative 11-degree weather with a crazy, ridiculous wind chill. And finally, I would have to say, Mike McDaniel, you are on the hot seat, sir. You are now on the hot seat, and it's going to be all season long. It's time to produce. Because while you are a brilliant offensive mind, there was another brilliant offensive mind, so to speak, that was in Miami, and his name was Adam Gase. And y'all look very similar right now, to be honest. Very similar. Brilliant offensive minds that can't get out of the first round of the playoffs equals no job. Okay, there's no job security in being just a brilliant offensive mind. You have to produce. Okay, and it's time to produce. If you can't produce, move out the way and let somebody else come in and do the job.